Realism is Loyalty is a grassroots nonprofit organization here in the inner city of Grand Rapids, Michigan, where we work with youth and adolescents and their families between the ages of 14 and 19. What's unique about our programming is that we combine both mental health and mentoring. In our Each One Teach One program, it's grounded in our family systems theory. They engage in 3 days a week of classroom instruction, Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And then our parents are involved in individual, family therapy, and parent support groups.
Realism is Loyalty is a brainchild of mine. I did a lot of time as a juvenile offender as well as an adult returning citizen. I began to think over my 10-year prison sentence that maybe the system was designed that way. Maybe programming just wasn't relatable. Maybe a different approach should be taken. And that's what kind of sparked the idea of Realism is Loyalty. I just wanted to help people, specifically people that looked like me. I didn't have much experience. I didn't have much know-how. I just knew how to relate to young people. And that's what started Each One Teach One. Antoinette was a youth specialist at the time at detention. Over time, Antoinette and I began to work closer and closer together. She corrected me and showed me where a lot of flaws was at. So through that process of trial and error, we were able to get funding again for Each One Teach One program on a bigger scale. And we just pushed forward with it, with the idea of being that individual for that young person in that family that we thought we should have had when we were growing up.
The very first time that we ran the program, I was an intern there, and it was just the youth. And so once we did the outcomes for that program, we realized that maybe this program might be more impactful if we had a parenting component. When a young person comes into the program, the most important piece of the program is the initial assessment. That assessment helps us to identify what are the needs of that family. We have a conversation with the parent, we have a conversation with the young person, we identify how many family sessions they may want to have, and then what are the goals for this particular family.
Every treatment plan is individualized for that particular youth and that particular family, and that makes engagement look different for every family that we serve.
We have 4 therapeutic treatment modalities that we focus on. The big 2 are cognitive behavioral therapy and solution focus. In our parent support groups, a lot of work is done with generational trauma. And so when we're talking about generational trauma, really we're talking about disrupting those cycles of dysfunction that may have been passed down from generation to generation. In those sessions, I tell my parents, sometimes we have to go backwards before we can go forward. And what that really means is identifying those things that we may not be proud of that we've passed down to our kids. It requires a high level of self-reflection and honesty and transparency. And once our parents can tap into that, then we can begin to create some change.
I was going through little issues with my son. His auntie was telling me that she knew a few kids that went through the program and it really worked out. And I was like, okay, let me try to investigate more. So I went on Facebook and I had seen different things on Facebook and I was like, well, let me just give it a try. I love the parenting groups, so I was able to talk to other parents about the situations we have at home. It was like a good support, so I felt like I wasn't alone. It's not always easy. They get through your past, talk about your past, what you experienced, what you've been through, and that also helps with your child, so y'all can have that better understanding. It even helped me with how I was parenting in certain ways and how I was speaking, how I was talking. It just really felt like a family. I just let my guards down because I really wanted this to work for my son. I really wanted to do whatever I had to do to make sure he was going on the right track.
Participating in this program made me a better person, and it just made me think like on a whole different level, because I was really in a bad place, so now I'm in a better place. My mentor made sure I wasn't being bad, made sure I wasn't doing nothing, keeping me in good spirits.
At 16 years old, I made a split-second decision that cost me 10 years of my life. Maybe if I would have had a JD, maybe I would have took 2 seconds to really consider if this was a good idea.
I hope for our families, they can walk away from this and say, I've learned to communicate more effectively with my child, and I can be empathetic. And even when it's hard to have those difficult conversations, I'm able to do that. I've learned some tools from the program that equips me to be able to do that.
I think everybody has a role in community. It's just a matter of identifying what role you play and play it to the best of your ability.